We've got fire pumps, we've got dam with thousands and thousands of gallons of water. We've got bore water, we've got everything.
Retired firefighter Mark Morrow is preparing for the fire season ahead. He lives with his partner Deb near King Lake in Victoria. 10 years after Black Saturday, the memories of that day are still vivid.
When the wind changed, we knew we were in trouble.
The whole mountain was on fire. I was in absolute terror. It was terror.
The Royal Commission into Black Saturday found the fire that destroyed their home started when an electrical wire failed and caused arcing.
Every time it arced, it spewed out plasma at 5,000 degrees Celsius. So what's that going to do when it hits the grass below it? What hope have you got?
Of the 173 people who were killed in the Black Saturday fires, 159 died in fires started by power lines.
80% of life loss since 1977 has been associated with fire started by power line.
In 2010, the Royal Commission recommended insulating power lines or putting them underground. A task force began looking into these options, as well as a technology called REFCL, a rapid earth fault current limiter. REFCL works like a big safety switch, rapidly detecting power line faults and reducing the power flowing through the faulty line. These tests show how it works. A power line hits the ground with no REFCL installed. A fire starts. Test 158, with the REFCL device installed on the network. There's no fire.
I've watched hundreds of ignition tests where live conductors have fallen into beds of ultra-dry grass under very hot conditions. And in not one of those tests, if a REFCL was in service, did a fire start. So it works.
The REFCL can only manage a number of incidents, and even under the best conditions, they can actually fail to operate in certain cases. So we were quite worried.
REFCLs aren't the only technology that's been installed on Victoria's power network to reduce bushfire risk. But some power line safety experts say there are big questions about its effectiveness.
Well, even from the start, I was concerned. I could see that it would look like a panacea, but I knew that it could not actually control all the risk associated with electrical assets.
Here's what happens when REFCL goes wrong. When the REFCL device shuts off the power on a faulty wire, the voltage can almost double on the other wires, putting stress on the entire network. This means they can potentially create secondary faults, known as cross-country faults, elsewhere on the network. When you saw that the first time, what did you think?
I was expecting to see it, because I was looking for cross-country faults. It's something I know about. If you have a cross-country fault, you're most likely to get a fire start. Once there is a cross-country fault, you actually have a fault at two different locations, and so the current is released at both of those locations. So you could say there's a safety risk.
The REFCL manufacturer, Swedish Neutral, says the product does not cause other faults on the networks it operates on. Dr Tony Markson is the former chairman of the energy market operator and says these types of faults are rare.
It's not a stress caused by the REFCL. I mean, the first REFCL went in 2 years ago and no cross-country faults. So, they're a fact of life. They're rare. They do happen. If they do happen, they pose risk, but it's not necessarily catastrophic risk.
As well as serving on the task force that was bringing in the REFCLs, Dr Markson was also appointed to oversee any objections. Isn't that a clear conflict of interest?
No, I don't believe so. I gave my advice on those objections and the government made a decision.
REFCLs have never been used anywhere in the world for the purpose of bushfire protection. The expected cost of Victoria's REFCL program was $150 million. So far, that's blown out to about $650 million.
The package that was delivered ends up being around 30 to 60 times less expensive than the alternative ways of achieving that critical protection of the community. So I think it's money well spent, although we are having some teething problems in the implementation.
As the REFCL program was being rolled out across the state, in Western Victoria, communities were devastated by yet another fire, started by a power line.
I run around our house and our farm, so every morning you're reminded of where the fire's been and you look at the regeneration and the moving forward.
The St Patrick's Day fires in March 2018 destroyed Jill Porter's farm at the Sisters in Western Victoria.
It takes a long time to breed a herd of cattle. It also takes a long time to remove the images of those cattle that you see being burnt.
The fire started when a power pole on a neighbouring farm collapsed. Jill Porter says REFCL devices could not have prevented any of the 6 fires that started that day.
I don't think REFCL is the answer. I don't think REFCL will keep us safe.
We always understood this was potentially highly prospective technology, but was in need of very significant development work. So it was a journey of discovery.
Are you confident that REFCLs are safe?
I'm very confident that they're safe. More than that, they represent a very significant improvement in the bushfire safety for this state.
The poles and wires companies Powercore and AusNet Services both say they've tested REFCLs comprehensively and the devices worked during last week's high fire risk weather. 10 years after Black Saturday, like the rest of regional Victoria, dairy farmer Jill Porter is facing another fire season.
You're on edge all the time. As soon as the wind picks up, as soon as the temperature picks up, as soon as the grass dries out, it's fear and terror and just anticipation of what are we going to cop.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.